Hey everybody, it is Rob here. Kalina's also here in the background, but I'm going to wait 1 second just to make sure the audio is going correctly. All right, it is. How are you guys doing? We hope that everybody's doing well. We hope that everybody's feeling good, having a great week so far. Today is Friday, the 26th, and this is our April poll winner of the month. And to tell you the truth, I don't even know what the winner is yet. We haven't shut it down yet. We keep the questions and the poll open right to the minute, which does remind me, anyone who hasn't got their question in, if you're watching this live or watch it before 8 p.m. tonight, you should definitely get your question in before 7, because we usually shut that one down about 30 minutes before the live stream so that there's no new ones coming in as Kalina's getting everything ready and around.
Do you have the farm link?
The no, but it's in the post. They know where it's at.
Okay.
So if you don't know where it's at, guys, just go back to the older post through our Patreon. Actually, the link that got here today is the same link that has the thing, so you should be able to find that pretty easily.
That's not it.
1 second, guys. I'm just gonna find this this thing, and we came last minute, like always, guys. So we're still a little hectic with the energy here, but we're getting her done.
That's not it. I can't find it.
We're almost there. What are you looking for, sweetie?
Your life. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, we don't need it. There's
okay.
No questions.
Okay, I won't be able to chat.
Oh
with
yeah,
you guys then. Sorry.
It's in your email.
Oh.
Yep, I sent it to you already in the
Okay.
email. Yep. All right, guys. Voting time. Almost there, guys. All right. So the winner for this month is Guides on Earth and How They Assist with a whopping 40%. Also, if you guys did not know, last month I put in all the winning subjects, and we're going to start putting that in and try to keep those updated too during the time of the suggestions. And we don't put them on the actual voting thing because it's not really as relevant, but definitely the amount of subjects that have been covered have been tremendous. Now we've just in a couple months we'll have had this Patreon page now for 2 whole years, and it is actually quite amazing, guys. So anyway, that's the subject for the day, and I'm going to shut down this poll real quick so that it's over and no one gets disappointed when they vote and their vote didn't count. So I'm going to do that real quick. In the poll, all right, poll is done and over, guys. Like I said, whopping 40% with guides and how they assist. And how they assist, period. So anyway, guys, that's the ticket. That's the situation. That's what we've got going on. And everything is exactly as it needs to be. Perfect. So what else? Oh, yes. Tonight at 8 p.m. we're doing the Q&A. So if you got your questions in, that's great. Hopefully the camera's a little clear. We've got a better technical setup than we've had. Hello, Robert, from the chat room. Nice to see you. There's only a couple of us in here, but they know we usually go on and on and on and talk forever, so maybe that's why not a lot of people
plus
are in.
It's in the middle of the day on Friday. So.
Yeah, it's a work day and or prelude to the weekend, so everybody's getting their things on. But anyway, we're going to be doing this, knocking this out real quick, and then we are going to rock and roll with later tonight on our Patreon monthly webinar. So anyway, guys, I'm going to do one more thing here real quick just to make sure. Nope, that was not the right one. Anyway, I'm trying to make a camera a little brighter because the light's coming in. It's kind of doing it, but on the big screen,
casting shadows. It looks good on on my screen. Okay,
well then it should be good. And
it just looks dark on yours for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, it's probably because it's angled up. Anyway, guys, it's a neutralized time for me to be able to go get that. Anything else we wanted to mention before we get started, baby?
Just that we love you guys and we're glad you're here. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting topic to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be an amazing one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if that's it, guys, then that's it. We're going to rock and roll. We're going to neutralize. And thank you, Robert, for talking to us and everything. We're glad that you're here. And if anyone comes in the chat room, Kalina will be watching that chat so that they know that we're neutralizing.
Yeah.
Not just running extraordinarily late like sometimes we have done before when it comes to technical get-togethers and whatnot.
Well, for me, because I'm not technically a Patreon member, like if Rob forgets to send me the link, then I don't have any way to get in because it's secret. So unless I go into Rob's account secretly, which I can do.
Yes. All right. So you're saying you can't find the page, the one that was listed for April 9th. So let me take a peek for that, Robert. Thank you for mentioning that. April 26th. All right. I'm going to set that in the discussion link below for tonight's link. And you're talking about the link to watch tonight from, correct? And I know it takes a while. There's a delay here, so. Oh, to ask the questions. Okay.
I think you use a forum link probably for that. All
right. So in Patreon, yeah, the 9th would have been, right. The 9th would have been when we put that sheet out. So that might be the link that we're looking for. But give me a minute to swing through on Patreon real quick and let me see if that's the one. If you can copy paste the link that's in front of you, this way it'll give me a verification to let me know if it's the same link we're looking at. And I'm going to go through in my post too. So yeah, if you can do that. If you're on a phone or something and it's hard to copy and paste, just let us know. That's fine too. But it's hard to verbalize the link. Let me see here. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that, bud. All right. Edit. No. View. Okay. Oops. Come on. There it goes. A forum. Okay, that's the open forum. Q&A. Webinar.
You don't want to do not the free open forum, right?
Right. Absolutely. All right. So.
Do you want me to look through my documents too?
I've got it right here on the thing. I'm just looking for the actual link here. Okay. The post that we did was on April 5th when we shared the link. And the link to ask the question is going to end in E as in elephant, Z as in zebra, B as in boy, and A as in apple. Those are the last 4 letters of the URL.
If you want to email that to me.
Paste it.
Yeah.
I'm going to copy and paste it real quick right here in the chat room too. Okay. And that way you'll have access to it too, sweetie.
Yeah, I'll copy and paste that too. So if anybody else comes in asking.
All right, Robert. Let us know if this is the link you got, because this is the link to send your question in for tonight's.
I don't see it.
It'll pop up. Give it a second. I just put it in, so it should pop up any minute. Oh.
You put it down in the comment section.
Yeah, no, I put it in the live chat for tonight's live stream. No wonder. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to not do that again. All right, here we go. Here comes the link. Is this the link here, Robert, that you have?
There it is.
Because if that's the link you have, it's the right one. If not, you might have got the open forum, which is totally different. The one we do on Patreon is called the monthly webinar, the monthly Q&A webinar. And the one for open forum is the free one to the public. No, you can't copy it that way. You have to share it from there, unfortunately.
Well, I can't do it then.
Yeah, you can copy it. You just have to go below.
I keep trying, but it's copying.
There you go.
There it is.
Yep.
There it goes.
Yeah, it's a pain in the neck.
What is going on today with getting links and stuff? It's weird.
I'm telling you, man, it's been a crazy,
It doesn't
crazy.
really take us that long to like find.
I know.
Or have issues.
Yeah.
What's the matter, kitty?
So if that's the one, Robert, that's great. If not, that's the one to use. So instead of waiting to hear back from you, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to start my neutralizing. Let Kalina know if that was the link that you saw or not. Oh, no worries, Robert. No worries. Did you get the link in the chat? Because I just wrote it above, and if not, I'll resend it again. But that's the link that's correct. There you go. Kalina will resend it. Yeah. The link that Kalina will do now is the correct one. If you have another one, it's probably the open forum. And the difference between the open forum is that the open forum is free and public, while the monthly Q&A Patreon webinar is only for our Patreon people. Same thing, same kind of thing. If you're doing that, Robert, too, please read the context of the form of the questions, because we try not to skip anybody from Patreon. But if the question's written in such a form that we can't ask it, then we won't be able to ask it. And I'll send another link too for the Patreon post that you should read through to see about how it's formatted and stuff, because it is kind of an important thing to format the question correctly so it does not get skipped. And there's that. So if you want to read that link, Kalina sent you the link to ask the question. I sent the link to show you how to format the question properly, stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to jump in now. Kalina can take care of any other questions or anything that you have, and we'll take care of it from there. But I'm going to mute down, shut the microphone, the camera down. Kalina will be checking out all of the incoming stuff, things like that. So either way,
if there's a little bit of delay, it's just because I'm going to try to figure out what our cat Chinny wants.
Yeah,
so
she's screaming like a banshee.
So if there's a little bit of delay, you guys will know why. But I'll keep going back and forth.
Yeah, and there's only one or two other people in the room anyway. So hi everybody,
okay,
we love you guys.
I want to clarify just in case, Robert. So that link is for later tonight. This format right poll, which is not where you ask questions.
Repeat that. I accidentally muted it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now we're doing the in-depth poll, which is not where you ask the questions, but later tonight, what time did you set it at?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern time. That's when you ask questions, and it's one question per person, just because there's so many people. And then we have Treb and Aridif. What I do is I take all your names and I put them into, I cut them up and put them into a can for them to draw the names, so that you're able to do that.
And that's only people who are live in the chat room. So if you're able to make it at 8 p.m. tonight and say 2 words on the chat, hey everybody, I'm here, then your name gets drawn for the 3 questions, written questions, or the 15-minute live chat with Treb.
Right, yeah, that's the one, whoever gets drawn for the winning. But for the general questions, it's
only one question, right? For that form, only one question. To get a chance to get 3 questions or 15 minutes by yourself, you have to be there tonight in the live chat.
You want to be in the chat room, and even if you don't want to chat, you just say, "Hi, it's me. I want to be able to ask those questions." You can either email 3 questions to me, or you can call me on Facebook.
Yeah. So either way, that'll be your choice, and that way, regardless, you'll always get the one opportunity to ask a question and have that be put in a drawing for the chance to have an answered question. But if you're there at the chat, then you're guaranteed, if your name's drawn, to get 3 questions or 15 minutes. Your choice. Okay, good. It seems like you got it. So we're not going to keep over-explaining.
I think the confusion is, remember back in the day, we used to give people up to 3 questions to ask, but then they just end up wasting their time.
We didn't do that.
No, back in the day, way back in the day.
Right. Not even the first time we did open forum.
Oh, we did. Not in Patreon, but
right, for the paid webinars, people got to ask 3 questions each, right? Because we cycled through everybody.
Through it in
right.
time because there were,
Right, but that was long. Not Patreon. That was just regular paid webinars, right? Anyway,
we're talking like 2013, 2014. So.
Yeah, 2012, 2013. Yeah, something like that. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna neutralize and get myself ready. Thank you, Robert, for asking those questions because we do forget there are new people here this month. We were gonna rush into it because we always take so long before the channeling starts, like 30 minutes and sometimes longer. That we were just going to jump right to the channeling and get that done so everyone would be happy not to have to listen to us ramble. But we forgot that there are a couple new people this month. So
we want to welcome everyone who's new here.
Yes, welcome everybody.
And of course everybody who's been here. But you also be sure to check out all the archives because you have access to everything that you missed before. So be sure to scroll down. And
almost 2 years worth of archives now.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff out there that is not on the regular
channel. You go to patreon.com/etwhisperer/post, then you can look at every post ever done in the whole archive. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you guys are able to see that too real quick. I'm going to copy and paste that on the side so that everyone has their opportunity to look through those and whatnot. So, oops, sorry.
Chini is.
There we go. So anyway, I'm putting that link down there too for all the people who are new, who might not have known that there are archives here. And here is the archive information. All right, everybody. I am going to neutralize now and get ready for the channeling tonight, or the channeling right now, not tonight, and tonight. I got to get ready for that too. But I'll be back 5 to 7 minutes so I can neutralize my energy, do some breathing, stuff like that. And then in 7, 8, 9 minutes, we'll be ready to rock and roll. We'll come back on, we'll chat for a little bit, and boom, we are going to channel the subject of, and again, I forgot, Earth Guides and their purpose. All right, guys, we'll see you back in just a few minutes. All right, everyone. I'm going to take 1 second to make sure we got the audio. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. All right, everyone. I'm going to take 1 second. All right, audio's good, guys. All right, so here's the deal. This is the poll, which are the subjects that you guys suggested as a group. We took all of your individual suggestions and we placed them on a poll to vote on for those of you who are new here. After that, then all of you voted, and the number one thing that won is guides on Earth and how they assist humans. And that's a very big and important subject. So right now, we're going to have Aridif talk about that subject in depth. We usually do this between 30 and 90 minutes, however it works. And then we're going to go from there. And once Aridif is done sharing what he wants to share with us, then Kalina will be asking follow-up questions. And those follow-up questions will be in relation to what she just heard Aridif talk about, and then she'll create her own questions about what she just heard in order to kind of help everybody else expand on the idea or to talk about all those things. So hello, Patty. Nice to see you here too. And Robert from before. Thank you both for showing up on the live. There's a couple more people in here. They just haven't talked in the chat, and that's fine. You don't have to. You definitely don't have to join the chat to join. But anyway, that's what we're doing, guys. I'm going to try to kind of keep myself as neutral as possible so we can continue into the channeling state. Just a reminder for everybody tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we could run a little bit late because as this is later on, sometimes we run between 8 and 8:15. But we'll say 8 o'clock. We're going to try our hardest to be on for the live stream for that. And then we rock and roll. But tonight, your questions will be asked. If you haven't got your questions in, please send them into the designated link. And we love you too, Patty. We love you a bunch. And
Yes, we do.
hopefully soon we'll announce our Asheville thing, and we'll be able to see your face if you're able to show up this year too. Because that'll be great to see you again. I'm going to go ahead and copy the link again for the question. I'm going to put it in the comment section. Oops. Copy link address. Okay. Hopefully that'll work. And I'm going to put them in the comments so that once the video is done. Nope, that will not work. Okay, we'll figure that out a little later. I don't want to get too out of my neutralized zone. Anyway, so that's that. You can go back to the post in Patreon or back in the live chat to get the links too for the form. Oh, I see. Here's the Google form link right there. Proper. Copy. And okay, so in the comment section, if you couldn't find it in the live chat, I'm going to set it in the comment section, guys. And this is the form to ask your questions tonight if you don't have it in, but make sure it's in at least 30 minutes before. And make sure you read the way to set it up so that we can ask Aridif or Treb your question. All right, I'm typing that in. All right, everybody. That should do it anyway, guys. It's really awesome that you guys are here today and all of you who watch this on replay. We love all of you guys so much. And it's your energy, your help, your everything that makes this possible for us. We used to really want to do something like this where we were doing webinars every month and having a chance to live chat with people, stuff like that. But up until 2 years ago, just was a bit more difficult. And now We have the technology and the time to do it. And with your guys' help, we have the financial energy so that we can take these days out of the month and really do it. For those of you also, the Galactic Weekly Channeling is set. Week installment number 4 with the Theta Turinians, which is a really amazing thing. This is something that's both personal for myself, Kalina, and Jeremy. It's something that you guys will want to see, and that will premiere on our YouTube channel tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Eastern Daylight Time. Same as New York City, same as Detroit, Michigan. And then we'll just go from there and kind of rock and roll. So anyway, I know I've been talking and kind of trying to fall into the right alignment of words to say today. My communication skills definitely are not on point today, just because it's been such a crazy energy of the week, energy of the day, stuff like that. But we're gonna knock that out with my neutral energy, and then get Aridif in here to talk about guides on Earth and how they assist us.
I'm sure Aridif will help you with that too.
Oh, I'm not even worried about Aridif. Okay.
I mean that he will help you.
No, that's what I'm saying. With Aridif, I have nothing to worry about with communication issues. All right, guys, give me one more second, too. I just got to do one final touch, and then we're going to jump in. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys on the other side. Take one more quick drink. All right, let's do this properly. Oh, yeah. My sloth shirt Kalina got for me. I know you guys have seen this before, but you rarely ever get to see the whole thing. Isn't that great? All right, guys. Anyway, love you guys. We'll see you on the other side. I'm going to take a couple pre-breaths. This is before I start my real breathing.
Move this toward you. Well, channeling.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine.
You need to hear my crazy deep breathing.
Yeah. Just remember to pull it back to you, too.
I will.
Yeah, it's fine how it is. It's one directional. All right, guys, here we go.
Greetings to all, this is Aridif, that is A-R-I-D-I-F, and this is spelled. We understand that you desire to understand yourselves more deeply about your Earth guides. But before diving in to this concept and idea, there are three things in which we wish to express. The first two, the same in which we have expressed each time that we have co-created with you in the co-creative sphere. And that is, first, above and beyond all things expressed within this day, to know, feel, and to perceive that you are loved is of the utmost importance. Secondly, it is our greatest excitement, and within that greatest excitement in which we co-create with you in this moment and all moments of your linear time. Thirdly, greetings, Kalina.
Greetings, dear Aridif.
Yes, it is a great excitement to co-create with you and with all of you, singularly and collectively, in this day. Now, yes, of course, now, we are diving into the construct of the Earth Guides and their purpose for the co-creation with you in your independent experience as human beings upon the Earth Collective, and also, secondly, as a collective consciousness. So first, we must express the archetype of the first variety of guides. Those are called your direct spirit guides. These entities are different than Earth guides, or more generically, the larger guides in that present form and expression of verbiage. The construct of those that are working as spirit guides are always working directly with the human construct of consciousness before entering your physical body as you're designing, preparing for, and creating your life experience in your linear future. You always work within the guises of information, energy, and incarnation ability that are expressed normally in the Earth Collective. First, you enter the degree of connecting with souls in which we've connected with before, connecting to guides, entities, energies, and those that are in either your oversoul or soul family or soul group to co-create with first. Soul groups are larger amounts of oversouls that connect with one another in order to exchange very specific constructs of energy. Your own oversoul independently has millions and hundreds of trillions of incarnations in the Earth Collective, and one oversoul having all of those incarnations span the spectrum of first to sixth density. Now we are focusing on third and fourth density only in our discussion, because the energy that is known as first and second density, in the way that they express themselves both physically, energetically, in a physical environment and collaborating with other consciousnesses in order to co-create is much different both in mechanism and experience. So we'll only speak of those in third and fourth for this discussion. When gathering with those entities that are in so groups and so families, assigning that definition is also very important. We have already expressed what a so group is. What is a so family? A so family, much more specifically aligned with the construct of those oversouls that are tightly bound together. Just as you would find yourself with a mate, a husband or wife or partner, and then co-creating with children, and then co-creating with their offsprings as grandparents, and even looking into your lineage of your own brothers, sisters, parents, etc. All of those entities, for the most part, have the most tight bond with overall themes. Think about your own life as a child. If you have other siblings and one or two parents, all of you lived in the same house, and whether all of you combined working together live through one experience or not, it is irrelevant to the construct of the overall theme that was the household. Even if you yourself were a person who followed the law carefully and your sibling was a criminal, both of you lived in the same household, growing up with both of your parents having an overall theme, their desire for you to be civic students, those that desire for you to be held within the rights and regards of the law as they saw this, or to not care what their children did. Either way, and either energetic format, all of you shared one larger theme. So is the soul family. All of the fractals that are either within your own oversoul structure, your soul family, or the soul group, you will find those counterparts and fractals in smaller form as entities that will create with you multiple times in your incarnation cycles. Those entities who have experienced you the most are often, and for the most part, unequivocally those that will co-create with you as the spirit guides. Entities that will work with you, not in the same form as other guides, but those who work directly in your central energetic system. For example, most humans in the archetype in which is carried as a human earth third density incarnation often work with 3 guide rule, meaning that you have 3 of those spirit guides that work with your chakra systems directly, and those 3 guides work with you from the time that you are in utero, as soon as egg and sperm are combined and growing into the mother's stomach until the very last moment of your physical life, and for some, even after that time. This expression is understood that as you enter a new incarnation, what these friends, what these soulmates, and what these guides do for you in your physical life, you will also do for them as you are non-physical in their physical experience. And after entering into the physical incarnation and physical body, these 3 entities work with you and your chakra systems to help not only the navigation of the physical existence and experiential experience, but also work as guidance mechanisms within those same arena and energetic forms. Archetypal of the earth energy in 3 guide system. We will give you an example so that it is better understood. There are many humans who carry the construct of first and second chakra as one guide, or there are other forms that are similar, carrying one guide that only works with first, second, and third chakra. Those entities that work and agree to be that guide within the first, second, or first, second, and third chakra will primarily be dealing with the most human aspects of your life, They will be working not only in the chakra system, but the emotional, energetic chakra exchange. And as they work in that guidance system to co-create with you, they will give you both insight, balancing, and co-creative wisdom for those specific themes. Think about what the first three chakras represent: physical reality, human experience. As in full density, your journey is to experience unconditional love. So too, in the third chakra is your experience to understand the exploration of self in both the third chakra and third density. Therefore, the life as expressed can work from the very human experience in one embodiment of guidance. The next chakra being the heart chakra, for this example of the being with 1 through 3 as the first guide and 4 for the second. In the heart chakra, a very specialized form of energy. In the fourth density, unconditional love, but also connections. And as all of you are going through your third to fourth density exchange, if there are two different guides who work within both your third and fourth chakra, those two guides are doing majority of the workload. There are examples, as in our first example, of those who have first and second chakra with one guide, meaning that the second may inhabit the third and fourth. But for example, 1 through 3 as the first and fourth as the second. This means that fifth and sixth and seventh chakras are all the embodiment of the third guide. This means that those things that are expressed as higher forms of etherical energy or etherical experiences, such as the throat chakra in communicator form and wisdom, third eye as in your external sight and the perspective of your heart and throat or communication and wisdom. That energy combined, linked into the third eye, also allowing you to see in astral projected realms and also in the state of non-physical forms, higher dimensional forms. The last chakra within the three is your crown chakra, the place that allows you to connect deeply to your higher self, the energy in which your soul transports itself through sleep state, astral projected state, and all of the other altered forms in which your body is left behind. Those of you that remote view also utilize your seventh crown chakra. Now, this example gives the first three to one guide, the fourth, the second, and the rest to the third, meaning that this human being and the guides that work with him are tied into the earth reality, into the earth incarnation, and part of the earth and human incarnation cycle. The three guides that work directly are going through the same experiences only from the energetic standpoint of being embedded completely in to the chakra system of that person. Let us give you an example. Perhaps this will give you better insight. When you have energetic co-creation with the small animals that are called parasites in your physical body, there are several smaller things that enter your body, and if they were feeding off of certain parts of your body and took all of the nutrients of that type in your body, you would desire nothing more than to eat that one missing component of your healthy body. For example, those entities that would exist in your stomach and take all of the sugar out of your system as bacterial energies, your physical body would then crave that energy. It is working with the system. It shows the system where it is both lacking and where it can be built. Now, the guides that work with you are in no way parasitic, but the exchange of energy can be perceived as such in your physical energetic form and in your energetic energy forms, the chakra system and the chakra body that exists within you. Those guides do inhabit those places, and with their own shifting of vibration, those areas then become very known to you, Your attention is then focused on that specific form of reality. Once this occurs, you are then allowed to understand the nature of your own emotional experience. These guides work in all times and all ways, and those human beings who are not fit to understanding their own selves or their own emotions, the guides work harder. The guides work in an energetic field that would be akin to a conscious within you. That constructing energy of your little angel sitting on your shoulder, the devil on the other side. These guides are the angel that shows you the emotions that you are having are for a reason. That conscious form within you, also known as your own conscience, that energy is the guides working with you and showing your misalignment with the energy that you are compared to the energetic field of your own soul essence. And what are the soul essences of each? Most human forms are directly in the middle of their own form of conscious. Vibrationally, they are able to experience both malevolency and benevolency. And at a soul fractal level, you can experience both. But as an entire entity, you are the same as your oversoul is. That construct is with 100% neutrality. This is how your guides perceive reality as well. They are fully integrated into their higher fractal consciousness and are directly connected with their oversoul, with your oversoul, and with your higher fractal consciousness. This allows that co-creation and mechanism to work. Now, going after the part of knowing and experiencing what and how the entities feel as they experience with you, it is also important in our own perspective to understand how deeply that your guides work with you when you are requesting opposed to when you are not requesting. As we've expressed, before requesting and knowing that that request was given, you are still having forms of conscience within you, a feeling of your third chakra not sitting well after an argument with another person in which you know you are not being in alignment with yourself. That is when you are not knowing that they are working, when you are not calling upon those guides to work with you. But what about the same argument with the understanding and with the co-creation and help of your guides? In that argument, in that example of an argument with another human, there are several components that go into the co-creating of arguments with others. First, your sense of safety in your first chakra. Secondly, your third chakra as your sense of self. And in all physical bodies and consciousness, the first and third chakra often tie in and refer directly to co-create as a part of the egoic forms of consciousness. And with that embedded, the guides work with both chakras individually and egoic energy in a larger form, another entity onto itself in which can be co-created. They know that energy is there. So that guide that works in the first and third chakra becomes activated to help work with you through that argument. Your heart chakra, in the example guidance system that we have given you, a separate guide working in the fourth chakra alone, also invited into this co-creation of your lower fractal argument with another human being. Now, your own energy is automatically calling out to your guides. The activation and misalignments of your heart, third and first chakra automatically direct those entities to start working with you. But consciously, when you call upon those energies and express to those guides, whether you understand the identity of those beings or not, automatically opens the service of enhancing the energetic communicative form in which they co-create with you. For example, I desire for my guides to help guide me through this very difficult co-creation with a family member, I feel as if they are not listening. I feel as if they are ego-driven. I feel as if they are being narcissistic in the way that they co-create with me. What can I do? Guides, please help me. Automatically, you are opening your intuition up for the reception of what is already naturally being given to you. The co-creation of your guides sending information, insight, and sending the signals of how to bring yourself back into alignment with your true nature. After receiving the energy from your guides through intuition, it is only amplified to the point and degree that can be as high as 7 to 9-fold the amount of intuition that you would receive when not asking. And the reason why it is enhanced to such a large degree is you have placed a direct intent and you are focusing all of your consciousness in the co-creation with the energies that are your guides and guidance systems. One moment, we must hydrate, then continue. Now, the entities that work with you through that enhanced form, communication and your own intuition sharpened, open to the degree. Now you can hear what we would call the instantaneous form of communication. Just as in the way that we would suggest that if you desire to speak to your higher self, to simply ground yourself through the grounding technique that we have taught. Align yourself with deep breathing and relaxation of the physical body and the breath circuit, and then ask your simple question in yes or no format. Should I continue to try to communicate with the being in which I am arguing in this moment to resolve the issue? No. Instantly, you receive the answer in through your mind as a word, as a feeling, as an emotional response. If you are not hearing the words, if you are not feeling the answer, listen to your body speak in reflexively. If you ask that question, should I engage with this entity further, and you feel negative stirring in your solar plexus or heart chakra, or anywhere within your structure, physical self, then this is a negative response, not in alignment with the word yes, meaning no. If it is no feeling or a positive feeling, a hopeful feeling, an emotion that brings only the variance of love responsivity, then the answer is yes. Working from that area, it can also help sharpen that co-creative conversation. Knowing that your guidance now focused upon only becomes stronger will allow you to build even more strengths. Now, we have only scratched the surface of those guides that work within, but we have spoken of this subject multiple times in many variations. So now we will express the other guides and forms that are non-guides of your own internal co-creative means or spirit guides, and move more so to the earth guides and generic forms of guides. The earth guides themselves, there are multiple collective consciousnesses that are embedded in the earth directive within their own fields or within their own grid system that surrounds the earth collective consciousness, in which all humans are able to co-create with, to ask about, to connect with. Now, the largest arena of energy that can be worked with are those beings that humans understand to be the archangel consciousness. This is not because they are in a higher dimensional form alone, but also the highest matrix of the entire universe that is directly oriented to only co-create with the Earth Collective. Those entities in which you have heard be given multiple names through multiple variants of religion, such as Michael, such as Raphael, such as Uriel, such as Metatron. All of those entities and energies are those beings that exist in the highest form of the matrix. And in that highest form, at the very top level of the 12th matrix, those entities only work with the Earth Collective consciousness. There are connections to the satellites that surround Earth, such as the moon, and they do co-create with that. But there are even beings that are specifically oriented to the energy of the moon itself, and those entities do co-create with the Earth, but are not specifically Earth guides. These entities are the greatest and largest energetic form of consciousness that is available in all matrices, in all universal forms, and in all co-creative sphere. Even though other universes manifest themselves through completely different laws, through completely different co-creative means, through areas that perhaps do not even hold physicality, there are still forms that are akin to what the function of archangel consciousnesses are in our own universal structure. And some humans call them the creators. Others call them the co-creators of God alone. All of those energetic forms are, as they experience their own consciousness iterated through the universal collective consciousness, they are the mechanisms that create all things. For example, if you were to call upon Michael and ask for the protection, as that energy is an embodiment and archetypal of protective form, it would not be the Archangel Michael itself will come down to, with sword in hand, and defeat the foes of higher dimensional reptilians that you are afraid of. No, in fact, it is quite opposite. In that way, the part of your own self that is the smallest cellular form within the larger consciousness of the Archangel Michael itself will notify itself, will expand, will call out as a beacon, and then the entity that is known as Michael that exists in the 12th matrix will connect its own energy to. But these beings are very similar to our own selves in the way that we desire to help others. When you ask of us a question, we will give you the answer as reflected by your own energy. If you ask us to heal your physical body, we would not. We would give our own energy to you, and that energy consists of love. You would then take that love onto yourself and manifest health with it. We cannot do your work for you. We cannot do the hard things that are needed for your experiential growth. But what we can do is give to you our own love. And those of you who understand the nature of creation and co-creation in your Earth Collective can take that energy of love, can amplify the vibration of love within yourself and manifest healing from the amplification. And in many ways, archangel consciousnesses work in that form with the human collective in Earth. As a matter of looking or matter of perceiving, their only job is to work with the beings inhabiting the Earth in this moment. Those are the most accessible and most within the consciousness of the Earth Collective. Now, going into the smaller collective consciousnesses, there is the Christic consciousness, the consciousness that, for all intents and purposes, from the human perspective, is the second largest non-localized version of collective consciousness in the larger Earth Collective consciousness, and that is the energetic field of unconditional love. It is the manifestation and iteration of all of the incarnations of those that who desire to understand, know, and perceive as the exemplatory energies that manifest themselves into the earth as personified or personified energetic field human beings, gods, entities of avatars, etc. Jesus Christ was, from the Christic consciousness, a physical manifestation of such. Your energy of Buddha, also a manifestation of Christic consciousness. The energetic understanding of Krishna, also embedded as Christic consciousness. Any of those that have human or earthly roots that are connected to at least partial or part energetic earth human being or other earth race can be from the Christic consciousness. For those who understood the story of Muhammad in the purest form, Muhammad, a part of the Christic consciousness, all of the examples that we can share with you, most of you are already aware. That is a manifestation, both physically, incarnationally, and energetically, of that field. In the time where Jesus was born into the physical self as a human being, the earth collective desired greater peace, greater compassion, to be removed from the realm of those that were vicious, torturous, and overtaking the entirety of the earth. That energetic field itself created the mechanism in which change could occur. Being who created an entire movement of love. Now we understand the warped nature of your historic energy, the warped nature of your religious energy, all places different implications that are embedded. But generically and energetically, that Christic form took that Christ energetic field as a manifestation of one consciousness in order to shift the entirety of the collective energy. One moment we'll hydrate and continue. Now, as we've expressed, the larger grid system of the earth into itself is the largest form of energy that encompasses the earth collective consciousness. The Christic consciousness is the secondary form of grid that surrounds the earth collective. There are hundreds of those grids, each of those with different collective consciousnesses, and grids being for the purpose to connect entities within the earth to the energy that they desire without having to go outside of the earth collective to receive this. We will give you examples and we'll share that at a later period. But the examples that we will give you is the Octarian solar system co-created collective version of grid system in the earth. The second is the Syrian and earth human co-creative grid. The third, the Pleaidian construct divisional grid system. All three of those are examples, and we will share why at a later time. All of those grid systems connect each and every one of you to a component of energy that you desire. The third layer of guides that are within your earth co-created collective are those that are perceived as ascended masters. We utilize the word perceived as for multiple reasons. The very first is that what we perceive ascended masters to be is not what most humans define them to be. Most humans say that these humans have entered into their lives at so many times, or at such great positive nature and such high correct ability to shift their own energy from low vibration to large, that no longer need an incarnation cycle to embed themselves within, or that they have experienced so many perfect lifetimes of love, acceptance, and happiness, that there's no need to continue the Earth incarnation cycle. In that way, we would express that the majority of those things are not the same as ascended masters in the way that we perceive them. The way that we perceive the ascended masters deals less with linear time. In your perspective, accounting only for the linear time in the way that is experienced through both your physical self and incarnation, having one incarnation concurrent with another, or consecutively as you feel in linear fashion. Those two energies are quite different. In our perspective, those that hold title of ascended masters are those who have incarnated as frequently or as least frequently as they desire. But in this moment, they have lived outside of their body long enough to have integrated entirely with their higher fractal consciousness, or at very least into the 95th percentile of the higher fractal consciousness. That, to our own perspective, is what makes the ascended master, not the fact that they have not incarnated for some time, not the fact that they no longer need to incarnate. And another misnomer that we will clear for you quickly: those beings who have expressed that they are done incarnating, that there's nothing left for their soul to learn, are quite mistaken in their expression. Yes, there are ways to live outside the incarnation cycle for as long as you desire, but linear time, the way that it is experienced, and the physical versus non-physical attributes of consciousness only allow those that are physical not to perceive the entirety of themselves. Those that are non-physical can perceive the entirety. And once you have integrated deeply enough into your higher fractal consciousness, there will be no desire to stay outside of a physical body. As a neutral being that is completely integrated with its higher fractal consciousness, there is no such thing as a bad experience. There are no such experiences that are negative, bad, or not good for the soul. All of you understand Rob's son holding physical limitations. His life, for most of you, you would not desire to trade places with his physical body. To have a degraded mind of a younger child and a physical body that does not work. Most of you believe that this would be the worst experience that could be had. But for those ascended masters who've completely integrated into themselves, they can perceive the worst possible and imaginable life that you could perceive, believe, or express are still of great value, and in many cases more great in value than the lifetimes that are easy. In easy lifetimes, there's much less learned, both to physical level and at a soul level as well. Now, with that construct to the side, we continue to express the integrated process of those that are within smaller collective forms of the ascended masters. There are several different forms, some that are higher dimensional, extra dimensional, or non-physical beings that humans will call angels. Those are entities that are misdiagnosed or misunderstood by the majority of human beings. What occurs most of the time is that disincarnate human beings who watch over your soul, who watch over your physical life, or higher dimensional extraterrestrials or extra dimensionals are often misunderstood and only accepted as the angel form. This is why so many of the humans in religion are perceiving their larger guides, their generic guides, and perceiving them. This will take us to our last and final place of touching, the most generic guide. Those are the things in which we have expressed previously that are often mistaken or mistaken for angels. The classification for this is innumerable. and so deeply embedded in the formats, types, and kinds, we cannot give you a list in this moment. But in the most generic sense, and in the human experiential spectrum, we will give you the classifications. First and most common, disincarnate human beings who exist in the form of communication at one level or another. This is your grandmother who died, who only desires to see all happiness, so plays in the part of extended spirit guide. It from the external perspective, outside of your physical body and not directly engaging with the chakras themselves, will communicate with your spirit guides that do embed themselves into the chakras that are inside the physical body to amplify your ability to hear them and the guidance in which is taken, understanding that the external guides work more so with the idea of telling you what you should or should not do, while the entities that work inside of you only reflect the amount of alignment in which you already are. The guides inside of you are a part of you. Your own decision sways the way in which you work with him, where the external guide, such as your grandmother who has passed, who loves you so deeply, will always tell you, I told you not to marry the person you are marrying. I do not like their family. Now we understand this is a dramatic, energetic expression of that idea, but you perceive the difference in mindsets of those guides that work inside versus outside. After humans have separated from the physical body, linearly speaking, for longer periods of time, they integrate more with their higher fractal consciousness, and so too, their perspective becomes evolved. Your grandmother will no longer hate the person you are married to. Your grandmother will then start understanding the nature of fluid consciousness in her own experience, but also co-creatively. That evolution occurs within the disincarnate human version of guides, extraterrestrial beings that are higher dimensional, are also the generic forms and guides. Entities that are in between lifetimes, both human and non-human, both directly above your dimension and in much higher dimensions. All of these entities are often fluid in your experience, just as your previous and future incarnations are. What we mean by this is that if you were to change your mind on all of your life in this moment and shift into an entirely new vibration, the majority of your external guides will not still be working with you in that same way. Perhaps some of them will stay within your vibrational sphere, but the majority of them will shift out of that energy. For example, with Rob's own experience, he has not committed violence for more time in his own experience than what we have co-created with him. If he were to shift his vibration and mind and go back into a violent personage or violent persona, he would not align with our energy nearly as easily. He would not be able to access the forms of energy or co-creation in that way. That energy of his own deciding would then dictate the approximation of work that other beings such as ourselves and Treb Bor Yit NE can work with him. The energy of spectral violence or spectral mindset or spectral belief systems or spectral actions within your belief systems are also the integrated part of energy that shift through those generic external guides. And when certain experiences come into your energetic field, such as going to speak to a certain group of people or going to have a certain vibration experience, the guides will often stay with you for that part of your journey and then leave as other guides come in for your new step of the journey. We will take your queries at your leisure.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yes.
I have 3, maybe more if we have time. I did want to clarify something about, I'll move this a little closer so you guys can hear me a little bit better. Okay, so when it comes to the guides that work within the chakras, I just wanted to clarify if this is more of a guidance system or actual guide beings assisting, or has it been of both?
Yes, of course, it is both. These entities have identities unto themselves, but yet do not utilize that identity in order to shift or shake the energy within you. Let us give you an example. If you are working with the first example of one who works in 1st to 3rd chakra with one guide, 4th as the 2nd guide, and all of the rest of the chakras within the 3rd, the first guide may be a counterpart of entity that you've had previous incarnations with in multiplice times. For example, 30 incarnations upon Earth was with this entity. Then you go to your heart chakra guide and you have had over 200 incarnations with this entity. And the last guide, you have had 15 incarnations. Those entities have had different identities throughout all of those incarnations. Some of those are felt and experienced by many of you, which is why you feel your guide that is called John or Charles or Samantha. You feel the identity of the fractal in which they were when they incarnated with you previously. But even that identity can shift. When you are going through a stage of your life where you are acting upon your shamanism, then it is obvious within your chakra system that the fractal identity that you can receive, feel, pick up intuitively or communicate with will be the part of that incarnation that you shared with your heart chakra energy that was also a shaman with you many lifetimes ago. Now, as for the internal workings, yes, it is a system of integration and co-creatability. Those entities are not fully their identity. They are fully integrated into their higher fractal self, but that energy is compressed for the benefit of working directly with your own energy. And in that term, they are both an identity and an entity onto its own, but also a part of your internal emotional chakra system. They cannot affect the outcome, whereas if you were to take a completely different consciousness, say through the means of pregnancy, and place that chakra system and soul within your body, that can affect your emotion, your thoughts, your cravings for foods, your ability to do certain things, and your ability not to do others. This is an independent consciousness alone that has now overlapped and embedded directly with your chakra system. Whereas the guidance system is an integrated form that does not budge against your own desires, wills, thoughts, and experiences.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yes, of course.
It's amazing. We could go all day on that subject.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I want to talk also about I always think of like for instance elemental guides. There are a lot of like systems where you can work with the elemental guides. At least that I've had experience with elemental guides, especially with the wind. There are consciousnesses there. And of course that would include like people who've worked a lot with crystal guides, such as Casey, who's works a lot with that. Could you talk a little bit about elemental guides? Because I definitely see them as a type of earth guide that we connect with.
Yes, of course. Now, first of all, the elements themselves the elements of air, fire, water, wind, and earth, for the example of the entity that we call Casey. All of those energies onto themselves are only of second density, vibration. Therefore, yes, you are able to communicate with him, and yes, you are able to exchange, but will not exchange with a human being upon the level in which a higher second density being, or even mid-level second density beings, would be able to experience and communicate. What both of you are experiencing in crystal and in wind is the elemental collective consciousness of the integrated energy. For example, when Casey works with crystals, it is not crystals themselves that speak directly to her. It is the crystalline energy of the earth collective crystal form, not the entire earth, but a fractal, the same as you are one human in an oversoul. The different forms and beings are either the elemental version of the fractal consciousness of the crystalline energy itself, or higher dimensional beings utilizing that crystal form able to communicate with her. For you, this is an entirely different energy. The wind energy, as a collective entity, is a localized collective form, as you have co-created with the localized collective wind, as a verbal communication through Rob's own energy. And when you achieved being able to speak with that entity in that way, you were speaking to a local group, a group of air molecules that gathers together, can be multiplicity in your hand, can be within millions and billions of molecules. But when the consciousness of those energies embed large areas, 1 square miles worth of wind molecules, all of the smallest components gather as a collective form. Just as all humans in North America, if they were to come together and speak as one, they would be the North American Earth collective consciousness. So too the elemental energies collect and embed. This is why you will perceive forms of energy within those air or elemental collectives that are equivalent to 5th and 6th density beings. They are just as intelligent in wisdom and just as aligned within emotion as even our own physical self is. But it takes multiple trillions of them to come together in order to receive the form of insight. Normally, when 10 raindrops land within your hand, they cannot come with the form of communication itself. You can communicate with him by your intuition receiving 10 drops worth of rain in your hand. But in order to dialogue back and forth, it would be gallons that number in thousands to have a simple conversation, in the tens and hundreds of thousands, in order to have in-depth co-creative energetic forms that we are having in this moment.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I've definitely had experiences with elemental collective consciousnesses, like with the dream or astral state or higher dream state that I had, where the wind was playing with me as as a tornado, which sounds kind of rough, but it was almost in a humanoid-ish form, if that makes sense. And even with the raindrops we were talking about in the hand, there was a time where I had my phone open and the raindrops fell down and actually formed a sentence. I wish I could remember exactly what it said, but it basically had to do with manifestation. With the manifestation, if I could believe that something could happen, that it would happen. That was the gist of the message. So it was really amazing. So I definitely feel that connection, is very deep.
Yes, of course.
So a couple more while we have time. Looks like I have time for maybe 2 more. So what about when we connect with, for instance, the god or goddess archetypes, say if we connect with Pan or Kali or whoever, that because to me I feel like in some of these cases there are historical versions of these beings like Krishna, but then there's the collective consciousness that I feel like maybe as humans we're forming, kind of projecting on and having an archetypal energy versus, who knows, maybe the original Kali was an extraterrestrial, but we as humans have formed a collective consciousness that maybe the earth consciousness has kind of latched onto and created. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So
of course.
I've always wondered about that. I was wondering if you could talk about that connection, how it really just guides and a little bit of the history behind that.
Yes, of course. First of all, you are correct. All of those types of energies come in two forms. The collective consciousness version, that is either a predetermined and pre-existing co-created collective energy, or a projected manifested version. Either way, it is not as important in our own perspective. The outcome is the same as a tangible co-creatable energy in which can engage with the human form collectively and singularly to help better your experience, to help tap into your experience. And as for the energy of those entities specifically, they are also multifold. There were entities that existed as those beings that were extraterrestrial in nature, that worked with Earth on personal levels, and then there became the collective manifestation version. Let us give you yet another example. For the example, your Santa Claus energy, there was a human being that was named Saint Nicholas, and this entity is the archetype in which was utilized for the larger energy of Santa Claus. Yet, in your Earth collective, 100 years after, the co-creation in that way still exists, a larger form. And in that collective form, there are those children who create a version of Santa Claus in their own house. There are those of you who have seen the Easter Bunny on Easter morning. Those of you who have seen Santa Claus in the morning. Those are manifestations that are strong with those types of humans in the lower age group who have less resistance. All of those forms, regardless of what they are, whether they are projections and manifestations of the earth or the actual being themselves, you can feel that in your energetic field when you co-create. When you look at the history of Jesus Christ from the earth perspective, many of you will see some energy that is not as exciting for you as the Holy Savior of God's Son. The only God's Son, that is the only thing that allows you into your heaven. Some of you are more excited by one version or the other. It is for you to feel the historical version or the co-created collective versions. We thank you.
Thank you. That is amazing. And to me, having that collective experience is just as real as to the extraterrestrial one. And I definitely wanted to point that out. So if you're ever, having a little candlelight ritual and you see Hecate, you've seen Hecate, the part that's connected to you. In fact, I see it as you've seen the Hecate that is that part of you that's within that aspect of you that's part of that collective consciousness. So that's how I see it anyway.
Yes, of course.
All right, so this one, the final one I'm going to close with, since we're getting close. I want to talk about, I know we talked about deceased loved ones, basically like disincarnated humans, but let's talk about ancestors, because I feel like, in our genetics, and of course there's always, if you look in the field even with epigenetics, so whether you have someone who's still living that you're connected to or not, I feel like the ancestral energy, it's a big one. We carry that with us, and I also feel like on some level, we have the history of our entire ancestral, on some subconscious, unconscious level, that is still being played out. So all the trauma, all the laughter, all the fears, the tears, everything that's ever been experienced in our ancestral history is in our body. And it's like we carry a piece of all the people that came before us. And I feel that, of course, that, and then I'm not even bringing in like all the previous lives of all those, but just in our bodies alone. I feel like that's a really important one to go over. Because I feel like that, in a way, is a guide. And there are people who will actually connect with ancestors that they didn't know of prior. So I was wondering if you could talk about the theme of ancestors and their guidance and connection with us.
Yes, of course. First of all, you are correct yet again in your intuition and insight for the ability to connect with your family of the past, your ancestors, if it were. And that energy is that epigenetically, energetically, physically, and connectedly through your soul, you have possibilities and communicative abilities with your ancestors. First of all, your DNA is a roadmap of all of your ancestors passing down their own genetics to you in the form of the physical body. Most humans align, at least in small parts of their incarnation cycle, to embed themselves in one family lineage over and over again, being able to feel the first scare of the entities that came into Earth in their reptilian forms and scared early forms of humans, that embedded directly into that DNA and epigenetically passed down to its own ancestor and continuing to go from one to the other, having children that energetic line in both strengths and traumas pass down the energetic field. This is why you see large swaths of families that have natural psychic awareness embedded within their families, intuition, psychics, etc. And also you see families hand down genetic fears, anxieties, etc. This family dynamic energy is part of your physical experience, and those are undisputed facts from both your own understanding, Kalina, but also the larger society of the Earth scientific community. All things that you are physically are owed to those who have given life before you in your family lineage. Energetically speaking, because you do incarnate so frequently back into one family lineage or handfuls of family lineages, by visiting those ancestors, you are visiting versions of yourself. And as most of you understand, visiting another version of yourself is pure way for you, your own self, to first understand different perspectives of energy and secondly access strengths of those older energies in forms. Now, when you are looking at the perspective of can you simply call upon, knowing or not knowing if this lifetime is your iteration into the family tree, which you've incarnated several times, we would express that that does not matter. Even if you have only incarnated into this direct family, that you are in this incarnation, it does not matter. You are still epigenetically, physically, energetically, co-creationally connected to those entities. This is many of your indigenous tribes in your Earth collective, many of your Native American Indians, all the entities that are Mexican Indians, all the entities that are South American Indians, as per your terms, late 1800s, all of those entities called upon their own ancestors for strength, wisdom, and guidance. This is a way to honor the fact that you're physically able to exist due to that experience, co-creation, energetic factors, strengths, and weaknesses of your ancestors. Before disconnecting, we wish to express our own gratitude to yourself yet again, Kalina, for co-creating with us this evening.
Thank you so much, Aridif. I love you
Yes.
so much, and you are loved, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share your wisdom and your friendship and your love with us.
Yes, of course. As we are also grateful for that co-creation, as previously expressed, we also would express that not only are you loved, but we love you as well.
Love you. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Mhm.
We express to you all that we will bid you adieu for this evening. You are loved. Adieu.
Adieu, sweet Aridif. That was beautiful. I know I always say that, but I'm going to be listening to this again today. Welcome back. Getting slowly grounded, getting back into your body.
Yeah. 1 second. All right, guys.
A few minutes till 5.
Yeah. We gotta get moving off of here so that we can be back in a few hours and channel for you guys.
Get you fed.
Yeah. That's good. Hey, Pat. Hey, Robert. Anybody else show up in the chat?
4 there, unless that's counting me.
Okay. Well, I saw Patty's name and Robert's name before
Yeah.
I got into my channel.
I think probably a lot of people are just working right now or sleeping, depending where they are in the world.
Exactly.
At least it helps us to kind of take note of when people might be
Absolutely.
available. I think the question and answer one is going to be where we're seeing a lot of people.
Yeah.
chat.
Oh, yeah. We always do. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna jump off. Hope you guys got something out of that channeling. Oh, you're absolutely welcome, Robert, Patty. You guys are both very welcome. We love you guys very much, and hopefully both of you will have the opportunity to stop in 3 more hours from now. 3 hours and 6 minutes from now, we're gonna do our Q&A webinar, guys. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump off here, guys. Love you. Enjoy the playback. And thank you, Patty, Robert, and whoever else is out there live. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of that. And then tonight we'll talk to you guys 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, daylight. And, yeah, if you show up in the chat, you might get a chance to ask 3 extra questions, 15 minutes. Anything else, babe?
We love you guys very, very much.
Excuse me.
And we'll see you in just a little bit.
We'll see you guys soon. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
All right, so hot.